Hello everyone, this is Dr. Geri Puleo, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar on what's smart about SMART goals, or the smart way to create your path to success. Now, if you think about the success that you desire, do you know how you're going to get there? Or do you find that your life so far has provided you with too many paths to success? In other words, have obstacles or opportunities come your way and you weren't sure whether to take them or to leave them behind? Well, if you use the acronym SMART to help you develop goals, you stand a much better chance of creating a direct path to the success that you desire. So let's talk about this acronym of SMART to use as a framework for developing goals that will propel you toward the success that you deserve. The S in SMART stands for specific. The M means that the goal should be measurable. The A reminds you to make sure the goal is achievable. The R focuses on the results of obtaining that goal. And the T puts a time frame on the goal so that it is time bound. So let's start with the S for specific. A specific goal is something that hits the bullseye. It's not vague, so you know exactly what it is that you're after. The way that you do this is to identify the characteristics of the success that you are striving for. For example, what is it specifically that you want? If, for example, you say, oh, I just want to make a lot of money, well, that's way too vague. What exactly is a lot of money? And how are you going to do that? Or is money a byproduct of achieving your goal? Be very specific in terms of what that goal is. Next, you need to make sure that the goal is measurable. Now, it doesn't matter what type of a metric that you use. It can either be quantitative, that means it's a number. It's a number, it's a monetary amount, it can be a volume, it can be anything that you can put in numbers, percentages, rankings, whatever. Or you can measure things by qualitative standards, things that are more subjective in terms of how you're feeling, a sense of accomplishment, pride in yourself. Whatever you use to measure your path towards the ultimate goal that you want, you have to make very, very sure that what you're measuring is directly related to achieving the ultimate goal. So, for example, when we said a simple goal of I want to make a lot of money, well, it's not a SMART goal because, as I said before, it's not specific because you're not quite sure how you're going to get that money. It's just kind of a byproduct of achieving a certain result. And a lot of, well, that's not a very good quantitative measurement, is it? A lot of money might be I want to make $1 million. Or I want to have $1 million in my 401k. That gets more specific and measurable. You know what your success is going to look like when you achieve it. But that's only the S and M in a SMART goal. There's other aspects. The next area of a SMART goal is that it has to be achievable. And this little cartoon says that sometimes the struggle is what makes success even sweeter. An achievable goal is one that's realistic, but it's got a little added something. And that little added something is that it provides stretch to what it is that you can currently do. In other words, a SMART goal is not something that you could do in your sleep. But by the same token, the ultimate goal that you're striving to achieve must be something that you have the capability to achieve. So going back to the idea of I want to make a lot of money, which, as we've said, is not a particularly smart goal using this acronym. But if you say, I want to have $1 million in my 401k, that's specific and measurable, but is it achievable? Is it something that you can actually achieve? So, in other words, if you are working in a job that's paying six figures, you probably have a very good chance of getting that $1 million. Now, you notice we haven't yet mentioned when you're going to achieve those $1 million, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But if you're in a job that's paying minimum wage, having the goal of making $1 million or having $1 million in your 401k might be out of reach. And if a goal is not achievable, all that it's going to do is demotivate you, and you're less likely to stay on the path. But when your goal is achievable by being a stretch goal, it's going to build your confidence in your own abilities because you did something that you thought you could do, but you weren't really sure if you could. So when you achieved it, it really boosts your confidence, and when you're more confident, now they go to the R in SMART goals. It has to be results oriented. And when you look at results, you're not just looking at the end product, but you're also looking at the activities that you need to do that will lead to your desired end or outcome. Also, when you look at results oriented, you're looking at your progress, your benchmarks along the way. So it's not just suddenly you wiggle your nose and blink your eyes like in I Dream of Jeannie and bam, you have the goal. You look at what the results are, specifically in terms of your feelings of accomplishment as a result of achieving that goal. So if you say, I want to earn a lot of money, which is not a SMART goal using this framework, but if you say I want to have $1 million in my 401k, what's the result of that? The result of that is how you feel. You feel a sense of security. Or the results of that are that you can help your family more. This is what we're talking about results oriented. It's not just achieving the specific goal, but it's what's going to happen in your life as a result. And then finally, SMART goals have to be time bound. In other words, there has to be a due date or a deadline for you to achieve it. One of the ways that you can do it, particularly if you're using a SMART goal for a legacy or big kahuna type of a goal in your life, you also want to have individual SMART goals for all of the benchmarks that you need to reach prior to achieving your ultimate big kahuna goal. And the reason why you put a time-bound element into your goals rather than just saying, I want to make a lot of money, is because someday is not a day of the week. If you say, someday I want to have a lot of money, how is that going to propel you on a daily basis to take the necessary actions to achieve your goal? So when you put a time-bound element on it, instead of saying, I want to make a lot of money, a SMART goal would be, I want to save $1 million in my 401k 10 years from today's date. And again, depending on what your circumstances are, that may be achievable or not. But if you really want to get that $1 million, then make sure the time frame in that is reasonable and it's something that is achievable. Because if not, you're not. So SMART goals help to provide a pathway to your own success. SMART goals help you know what you want, know how you're going to get it, and also know when you've reached it. Good luck!